A few quick questions. So I did this also with Dr. Farouk Habib. He's also one of the guys I did the podcast with in Islamic
Okay,
Finance.
great.
So quick fire round. Well, so I'm just gonna ask you quick questions and whatever comes to your mind as a quick answer. A country you rather live in and why?
Malaysia. They have amazing Islamic banking system. I'd love to be a part of it.
Okay, okay. Your go-to analysis tool when it comes to stocks and crypto.
Buy something boring and hold it for a really long time.
Why would you say that?
Because over time, I've found that the best investments are the ones that don't get you really revved up,
Yeah,
but they're kind of quiet and people don't pay a lot of attention to them. Like I made an investment in a company that made bottle caps a few years ago,
yeah,
and a company that made the lids that go on like the tops of train tankers and things like that. And
yeah.
I made a good profit, and all those things are things that nobody cares about,
Man,
right? So
I'm really hoping
um,
one of my stocks is like that, but it's down 20 something percent. I don't know, something 30%. I'm really hoping it comes up, man. My
yeah,
analysis says it will, because it is a very futuristic type of thing. It's disposable coffee pods thing. You may know the company. I'm forgetting the company's name. I just haven't.
I've heard of somebody doing something like that, but like that's just it, right? Like recyclable coffee pods. There was a company that, for a while that I was investing in that had this carbon capture technology. It didn't do very well, but like it's something that was sort of under the radar and nobody had really heard of,
Yeah,
right? So like big tech and this type of stuff, like you can make a lot of money doing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that everybody's kind of paying attention to it. So to be able to find value there is a lot more difficult than a company that makes bottle caps or a company that does something in waste management
mm-hmm.
or things of this nature, because nobody, like, it's not sexy, right?
Yeah,
So I've found that these type of boring things tend to produce a little bit more value. And at the end of the day, like, for those of you who don't really have time, this is supposed to be fast, but
yeah,
for those of you who don't really have time, like, there's nothing wrong with buying a halal index. Like,
yeah.
you know, getting an 8% return and not having to think about anything is
Phenomenal.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If people don't understand, like, rather than you having your money in your savings account not doing anything, in the long run, if you just put that money instead of the savings in some type of either asset or investment, it's gonna be just a better thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Just let's go to the next one. How should someone plan their portfolio in regards to the different asset mediums? So stocks, crypto, XYZ.
Yeah, so I think that sort of needs to that needs a deeper conversation on kind of what you're looking to do.
Okay.
But I would say 90% of your money, like I'm talking 90% of the money that is set aside for your retirement, kids' education, and things like that should be in something relatively stable. So I'm talking, blue chip stocks, halal mutual funds, halal ETF, because you're going to get that, sort of 7, 8, 9% return relatively risk free. Like, there will be ups and downs in between, but if you just kind of hold on, you're going to be all right. And so I would say the bulk of it should be in that. And then I would have anywhere from sort of, 10 to 15% in the higher risk stuff, right? Like, so those small caps, halal stocks and crypto and different things like that. But at the end of the day, you need to assess your attitude towards risk, right? So if you're
Yes.
someone who, if your money goes down by $50 or $100 or whatever, and you're gonna freak out, like, don't invest in crypto, because it can do that in a matter of minutes,
Oh yeah.
right? So, and with crypto, especially crypto, I always tell people, don't put money in that you're not okay to lose, right?
Yeah.
So if you have $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, and you say, okay, if this goes to zero, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then invest that in crypto. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, I've got this $5,000, but I'm gonna need, and there's a guy I know who actually did this. He took some money that was supposed to be for rent and put it in crypto, and he lost it.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
what the hell is wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
put $50 in crypto if you're okay to lose all of it, right? Put an amount And I don't think crypto's gonna completely shut down, but at the end of the day, we still don't know for sure, right?
Yeah.
There's still that level of uncertainty that crypto could kind of go the way of the dodo. I don't think that's going to happen. It seems very unlikely,
Mm-hmm.
right? Governments would have to make it literally impossible to turn on a computer to completely shut down
Yeah.
crypto, but they can impose laws that make it a lot more difficult to use, like what's going on in Ontario with Binance. Like, that makes the crypto market less accessible, and if all governments start to do this, like, it will certainly make it more difficult for it to be a mainstream thing.
Yeah, and then people start, but people will figure out a way around it and all that stuff. Though, cat. Okay. Um, your favorite food and why?
Man.
I'm about to make you hungry. I'm about to make you hungry.
I don't know, man. I'm a chubby guy. It depends day to day, but I would probably say, like, pizza's probably my favorite.
Uh
Like,
huh.
we've got my parents have this brick wood fired oven out in Gimli, and, like, you cook it on these stones and things like that. That's
Nice.
some of the best pizza you'll ever taste. But
So when am I
I'm
invited?
going to preface this by saying that pizza is probably my favorite, like, go-to thing that I'll eat, but I would have to say probably my favorite, like, I don't know, man.
Remember, you're married.
Ever since I reverted to Islam, like, I've had so much more exposure to, like, way better foods, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love doner. I love biryani. Yeah,
I was gonna say, remember, you're married.
me too.
You have to say. Um. Okay. Cool. The second aspect of this, what I wanted to do was quickly just throw some words out, and I want you to just give the first word that comes to your mind. So instead of an answer, just word. 2008 market crash.
Debt,
Conventional banking.
interest,
Haram police.
uneducated,
Uh, halal mortgage.
needs work.
Needs work. Yeah, I agree. Elon Musk.
Is all right.
Bitcoin.
Interesting.
Interesting. Riba.
Haram.
Okay, cool. I had to keep them in parallel to our conversation, so I had some really funny ones, but I'll skip on those for now. Um, so now to the next aspect of this questionnaire and just this conversation is, um, when it comes to ethical finance and just ethical business, why is it really important for us to focus on ethical? Just let's we talked about riba a lot, but let's talk about the concept of ethical business. Why is it important for the long term success of global economics?
Yeah, so I mean, globally, and in the investment world is moving in this direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so more and more companies are looking at corporate governance. They're looking at environmental impact. They're looking at trade policies, different things like that. All of which are certainly fantastic steps, right? Because it will make things better. At the end of the day, climate change is a real thing, and these are all things that we need to sort of care about. But it doesn't go far enough, right? And this is why we as Muslims have our specific rule set. And if you look at sort of what the potential is for moving away from some of the haram sectors of the world, like, we probably would be a society that has levitating cars and skyscrapers, and we don't touch the ground anymore if we avoided some of these type of things. Like, I don't know for sure, but I just picture sort of that whole, like, Jetsons thing where they're just they got the, like, that's what the potential could be if we avoided some of these haram things. So, like, for example, if we talk about tobacco, if we talk about alcohol, if we talk about drugs and things like that, like, those cost economies billions of dollars, every single year, in terms of damages, in terms of hospital visits, in terms of the loss of brain cells, not to mention the abuse that kind of comes along with it, right? Like, if
Yeah.
you look at families that have alcoholics in them, like, I don't think there's a single story out there that doesn't have some level of physical or emotional abuse, right?
Yeah.
And so and people spend their lives trying to battle those demons, and that's assuming they don't repeat this cycle, right? And so if we as a society stopped feeding these vices and put that money to more productive things like science and tech and healthcare and research and all this other type of thing, it would not surprise me at all if we advance as a society far more quickly, right? And so as Muslims, because if we're conscientious in the fact that we're investing in tech companies and companies that have good corporate governance and companies that care about the environment, like we will be advancing advancing our society. And so I always get people kind of coming at me who are like, well, have you ever heard of prohibition? Yes, I have heard of prohibition, and there will always be those people who try to undercut the rules and create speakeasies and do the alcohol running and things. Those people will always exist, and there probably will always be a demand for that stuff. But if the punishment is harsh enough, most people are not going to risk losing their limbs and losing their life for making some money in the drug trade or in the in selling alcohol or whatever the case may be. Like, and this is why I love the Islamic system, is because some of the punishments may seem very harsh, but if you look at Muslim countries, there are no, like, pedophiles don't exist. Like, drug dealers don't exist. Maybe they do. I haven't done a ton of research on it, but the stuff I've read, they don't exist, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not gonna make $100 selling a gram of cocaine at the risk of losing my hand or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I think this whole aspect of being woke and just caring about these punishments and everything. This is a privileged mindset. If people could understand, this is because you have food to eat, you have nights to sleep, you have nice bed, you have it's so much more luxury than you could ever imagine, and that's why your brain is thinking about the aspects of, because it's a guilt within you that you think you need to kind of help others within all this stuff. Even the people who are abusers, right? Oh, their punishment shouldn't be. No, why? We to. In regards to the whole rape cases and the pedophilia, there do exist. I mean, that exists, but it's the numbers, right? The probability of it happening is marginally decreased when it comes to this concept.
And you can even look at again, there certainly are some benefits to being able to bear arms like that exist in the United States, right? But look at every other major country that has gun control laws in place. Like, sure, there are bad people that get guns, but the amount of deaths that come to the public due to gun violence is considerably lower pretty much everywhere in the world, because there is a certain level of restrictions, right? And so even having laws in place, even if they're kind of never acted upon, adds a level of deterrent. And like, we're going off on a tangent here, but I'm just saying, like, you can see that even though these may be quote unquote barbaric, and frankly, I don't think they really are, because of the level of harm that all these types of people do to our society. But you can see that I'm certain that the numbers would go down in these type of cases if and only if there was that like high level of deterrent in place. But in the US and in Canada, most of these, like, if you deal drugs, worst case scenario, you're getting a 3 to 5 year sentence. If you behave well, you're back out on the street within 2 years, right? Yeah. So it's gonna keep happening, and
yeah. No. So about the gun laws, I wouldn't know much about, but when it comes to the concepts of control through negative or positive reinforcement, like the whole punishment system, like, people need to read more into the concepts of, like, the bads and stuff. But going back to economics and finance and Islamic finance, because there's so many topics. Even in between, we were having so many tangents off the call. So beautifully put what you said about in regards to your own personal investments. You're gonna benefit more when it comes to investing more ethically and investing through like Islamic finance guidelines. If you do business like that, it's better for you. And
Well,
it's not.
and just look at where the growth comes from, right? So
Yeah.
if you look at read any type of investment projections, right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest amounts of growth are not coming from haram sectors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the biggest growth comes from tech, it comes from healthcare, it's coming from green energy, it's coming from electric vehicles.
Jesse,
So
what
all
about
of
the
these
marijuana
areas,
stocks? Everybody's making money on marijuana stocks.
ah,
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
bought into marijuana stocks, they were bleeding
Yeah.
throughout all of 2020. Like they were hit so friggin' hard because those marijuana stocks were super overvalued. They had a ton of debt, and then when the pandemic hit, boom, they lost over 50% of their overall investment. They may be making money again now, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the level of debt that's in place, there's tons of competition. Uh, and once again, if you're Muslim, it's haram. So
Yeah.
stop it.
No, I was like, because there's a lot of brothers who are asking me about the marijuana stocks. So I said, you know what?
Stop trying to get around it. You know it's haram, guys. You know you're looking for someone to be like, well, if, but maybe sometime. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know, you
Yeah.
guys know.
Is it? Oh man, you should see the amount of questions I get about all these different things, and it's like they know, but they're trying to look for that fatwa, and the reality is I can't give fatwas. So I don't. Sometimes I don't even entertain those questions. Sometimes I'll reply by saying, "Listen, my opinion is this, but I can't give fatwa, so do not use my wording on this. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you what I'm doing with this."
But the
So
same thing for me, right? Like I can't give a fatwa. Like I can tell you what I've studied and what other scholars have said, and that's where my answers come from. But
yeah,
at the end of
yeah,
the day, like,
same.
yeah.
It's we can only take from what they're teaching us, right?
Yeah.
Though, Kar, this was a good conversation, and I mean we're much above the time that we were focused on. But any last few points for the people listening in regards to Islamic finance? Why a world without unethical finance and riba would be, the best thing that has happened to the global economics.
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing we need to understand, guys, is that an Islamic economic system can and will solve all of our problems if we have the wherewithal to go through with it, right? And I'm not saying that we can change the economic outcomes of the various countries that we live in, but we can change what's happening on the ground level within our communities, within ourselves, within our masjids, right? Like that would be the first step. So making sure that we're doing our absolute best to avoid debt, making sure we're doing our best to pay off the debt, make sure we're paying our zakat and distribute. And this is an important one, distributing it to the people within our own
Need.
area.
Yeah.
Too often, what we're doing is we're sending our zakat back home. MashaAllah, like this is not, like you're not sinful for doing this, nothing like that. You don't need to worry about that. However, the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, is to distribute it among your local community.
Yeah.
So if within our masjids and within our community centers, we can make sure that our zakat actually goes to the people who need it and holding our leaders accountable for that, that'll make a huge difference in the people's lives.
Yeah.
And if we come across people who are, in severe amounts of poverty within our local community, imagine them getting an influx of cash. That's what zakat is meant to do. It's meant to make it so that they don't have to be live in poverty anymore, right?
Yeah.
And if we can continue this cycle, we will be able to build generational wealth within our communities. But too often what we're doing is we're sending it outside of our communities, right? And that doesn't create a good foundation for us and for future generation.
Yeah.
And if everybody stuck to this concept within their mind of paying that zakat out just within their local communities, that would do a huge amount. And then, looking at investing in local businesses, debt relief programs, different things like that, so we can help ourselves stay out of the interest-based system, like that is going to make a huge difference.
Beautiful put. I mean, I want to add so much things to what you said, but I'm just gonna say one more thing is that the concept of generational wealth. I've already made a video on it, and I've also explained in there that ulama, when they come here from these other countries, they have told us we need to, it's good you send money back as you said, but focus on your local community. Give the zakat here because the concept of this whole debt thing. If people past generations before us focused on giving zakat here, saving their money here, investing here, there would have been a much better institutionalized manner of how mortgages are done halal in Canada. We would have
Yeah.
had a solution for us already done. So it's, I think it's kind of obligatory on upon us, or I shouldn't say that. That would mean putting words in the stakfar. But I think it's in essence it's really important on us as Muslims right now in Canada or in the West to start making that institutionalized stuff for the next generation, so they don't have to worry about these things, right?
And that is my ultimate goal with Canadian Islamic Wealth is I don't want, my kids having to get to where I am in life and say, can I buy a house? It's like, no, which halal mortgage option do you want?
Yeah,
That's going to be it.
yeah. Amazing, amazing. Jazakallah khair for your time. Highly appreciate it. Thank you so much. From from now, from my side and from everybody watching, just check out the description. You'll see more stuff from Jesse. Check out his TikTok. He has amazing content there. You want to laugh, you want good quality content, and you want someone who has good opinions. Check him out.
Okay.
That's it from our side. Everybody, take care. Jazakallah khair for coming. Assalamu alaikum.